because I'm so obsessed with the idea of a life of integrity, and I don't just mean like morally, I mean like being able to be oneself and that be constant no matter what space you're in.
Right.
For a while, there were different Zuris. Like there was at home in Ohio, there was this person I had to turn on for the red carpet. There was this other person in romantic and relationships. And like over the years, I've found that it becomes easier the more you just learn to be your true and full self.
Hey, welcome to the Why Not Me podcast with me, Mike Jackson. My guest today is Zuri Hall. You probably know her from Access Hollywood, E! Entertainment, on the red carpet, doing all that cool, fun stuff, American Ninja Warrior. But I know her as Zuri Hall, my dear friend, Lil Sis, someone who's got lots to say. We talk about growing up in Ohio, winning the Emmy, dreaming big, and manifesting your destiny. It's a fascinating conversation with a fascinating human being. I can't wait for y'all to hear this conversation. Zuri Hall coming up next on Why Not Me with Mike Jackson. Zuri Hall.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, thank you for being my guest on the Why Not Me podcast. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I can tell.
So for all of you listening, Zuri is like a really good friend of mine, and we have a really wonderful banter. I hope that it translates to this podcast and it's not inappropriate.
Oh, gosh. No, I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to go off the rails quickly, but let's see.
It's going to probably go off the rails.
Yeah.
We're going to give it our best shot.
I'm ready.
Because Zuri's a professional.
Yeah, I am.
So talk to me about growing up in Toledo, Ohio. You were born June 2nd, 1988.
Why would you? We just discussed the fact that was...
That was off camera.
Gratuitous. Oh, well, we just
now
had
we're
to say
actually
for the
doing
record.
the podcast.
Yep, June 2nd, 88.
Just act like you...
Do you want to know something kind of interesting about that?
I'm the interviewer this time.
So I can't help it. It's in my DNA.
Zuri, I would love to hear something interesting about the day you were born in June 2nd, 1988.
That's a great sort of suggestion prompt, Mike.
Thank you.
For that.
I'm going to try to, do this maybe a little bit.
No, you're doing it. You're doing the thing.
Hobby. Okay.
I'm impressed.
Hobby. Okay.
I know. Stop. Okay, we have to...
So tell me,
Don't let me do
June
this.
2nd, 1988.
Yes. Okay, so it was kind of trippy because my mom, I am still her firstborn child, her and my father. This story is off to a smashing start. So they were trying to get pregnant. And at one point on June 2nd, 1987, at 6:28 p.m., my mom has it timestamped in her Bible. She wrote a prayer like, God, please bless me with a baby. She'd been trying. My parents have been trying. And I still timestamp to this day because I get the habit from her. And so she conceived and I was coming. And I was supposed to be born in July, but I came a month early on June 2nd, 1988, a year to the date, at 6:28 in the morning.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
That's pretty wild.
I was born at 6:28 in the morning on 6/2/88.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, isn't it trippy?
That is trippy.
Yeah.
Tell me your parents' names.
Joseph and Valencia.
Joseph and Valencia. So tell me about Joseph and Valencia. Like, what were their occupations? Like, just tell me about, like, the family you were born into.
Yeah. So I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. My father was originally from the South. So kind of like his mom's side was from South Carolina. His dad's side was from Georgia. He grew up in Georgia. And I'm talking like country
Like not
Georgia.
Atlanta.
Not Atlanta.
Right.
Like dirt roads and Confederate flags.
Right.
You step out and you step back into time, like to this day, type Georgia, right? And I've been, like, I used to spend summers in Georgia, and we would go down to Ludowici, Georgia.
Could you feel the racism then, even as a young black kid?
It just felt like it was, the energy was different. You could just sense you just stay over there and I just stay over here and everything's good energy.
Right.
But I think that also was probably informed, for me at least, from all of the stories my dad told me about what it was like growing up as a young kid in the Deep South.
Right.
And so I showed up with that in mind, so maybe that also sort of informed how I felt there and just sort of the uneasiness in certain areas. But to be clear, I love the state of Georgia, and I love, like, I do have family in the city center now, like in Atlanta, and we go back often. Also, my grandmother, she's since passed. She passed last summer, but they're from a small island off the coast of South Carolina called Wadmalaw Island.
An island?
A little island that nobody thinks exists. Charlemagne swore it didn't. I don't think he even agreed that it existed. No one even from South
But like
Carolina.
you get on a boat and take a ferry to this island?
They've got, what do you call it when, I believe they call it a bridge.
I think there's something so much more intricate.
Yeah.
A bridge, yes.
Yeah. It's been a long day.
Okay.
But there's like a tiny bridge. And yeah, you can get to the island from there. So I still have family there and we do family reunions. We usually get together in Charleston, but then we'll always go to the island and visit where, all of our people are from. It's a really cool, very slow,
country
place. Yeah, so country. They moved north when my dad was, I don't even think a teenager yet, or maybe just 13. I think he was younger than that, to Toledo for more opportunities, for less racism and problematic behavior, for more job ops, because my grandfather was looking for work and was finding it hard to really not just make a living, but like make a life and actually, apply his ambition.
So your dad grew up in Toledo, essentially.
I mean, that's debatable. I feel like he had formative years as a child in the Deep South and some core memories there that have certainly shaped some of how he sees the world. But then, yes, like he came of age absolutely in Toledo. He was a teenager in Toledo, and has lived there ever since. My mom was a military brat for a while. My papa, her father, served in the Air Force. He kind of bounced around. She was born in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, I've never been. She lived in Montana for a while, said it was the most beautiful place she's ever lived when she was a kid. My uncle was born in Paris, I think. But
in Paris?
Yeah.
So he's a French citizen?
I should ask him.
I think if you're born somewhere.
Do you just get to keep it forever? I feel like he's got to pull up at least once a year to maintain that.
I don't know. We should Google that. I feel like if you are born... Look, I don't know, but I feel like...
is that actually the case if he was born on a military base in Paris or in France?
Did a French doctor deliver him? In a French hospital?
I would imagine so, but maybe not. If it was on a military base, maybe it would be like an American doctor also serving on the base.
You should look into that.
I mean, I am not personally invested because it's not going to affect my citizenship. I would love to be a dual citizen with a French
But couldn't it? Anyway, moving on.
No, affect mine. He's not my dad. He's
your granddaddy.
No, my uncle. My mother's brother.
I'm such a good listener.
You Continue. Are an active listener, and you should host a podcast.
I'm going to try my best.
You should ask people questions.
After I take Listing 101, I'm going to give that thing a shot. Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
So, yes. So those are my parents. So they both kind of grew up in Toledo. Yes. They met, I don't know, like my mom might have been in her early 20s or something. They got together. They had me and they had my brothers. So,
tell me your brothers' names.
Shamari and Joseph. You were going to make it really easy for someone to just recreate my family line and commit significant fraud in my life, by the way. So thanks for that, Mike.
Well, don't leave any real information.
We get
Social security
last
numbers.
4 digits of the social.
1367.
Yeah,
sweet.
all of it.
And tell me about your brothers. Are they in Toledo? Or are they? What's their deal?
No, so one of them is in Columbus, Ohio.
The big city.
He's in the big city, not too far from the Ohio State University.
What's it called?
The Ohio State University.
Okay, cool. I went to Penn State. I've heard of that.
Unfamiliar. Doesn't ring a bell.
Gotcha.
Recent Cotton Bowl champs headed towards.
I wish I could say
line.
more, but since I can't, I'm gonna
just don't.
Yeah.
Let me just
okay. The Ohio State University.
Thank you very much. And my other brother is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Great state, bad city.
Okay. I am going to take your word for that.
Philadelphia, wonderful city in Pennsylvania.
Yes. Actually, truly, yes. I have
Great
not spent
city.
much time, but I'm such a history nerd and I do love Philly.
And you know the people from Philly are just super
the
cool.
best.
Super cool.
Some of my favorite people.
Well, we thank you. Okay. So, schooling, like, were you like at a private school, public school? Because you're a little bougie to me, so I would think private school, but talk to me.
I don't really know how to feel about that. What does bougie mean?
It means bougie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means.
They did used to call me boo and sometimes bougie growing up, but I don't know why. I was a kid then. There was nothing.
But you like the finer things, probably a little particular.
Growing up, I think I've developed tastes
I'm
as
just
we all
teasing you,
do.
by the way.
Oh no, it's fine. It's true. But I don't know. I'm a Gemini. I'm kind of like, I like what I like, but then I'm also like whatever. I don't know. I'm just kind of like a woman.
I feel like you're pretty down to earth and pretty like chill for the most part. But you can,
for the most part.
But you can elevate your game to be
real quick lap.
To be
turn it up. No, that's true.
That.
I am very Ohio through and through. I take a lot of pride in being from the Midwest, and my closest best friends, you know, I've had for years and years and years, mostly from the Midwest. And yeah, like I have my moments. I think a life in Hollywood and a career in Hollywood, there's, you know, you start to develop tastes and styles and appreciation for certain things. But I've never looked at myself as really like of this world, just kind of in it. And then going back to my...
I remember your early days. I remember...
Oh, boy. What do you remember about those?
I remember... well, I met Zuri in Sundance.
Oh, are we going to say the origin story?
Well, you know, we were there promoting a movie. Zuri was new to E, I believe, at the time, and very new to L.A.
I had just moved here from New York, where I had been hosting at MTV.
Right. We're going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And you can say whatever. We can flow. Okay. And... you were interviewing us for whatever we were promoting at the time.
It was it the movie with Tika? Was it?
Yeah, it was. About Barack and Michelle Obama's first date.
Was it Southside with you?
Yeah, Southside with you.
Ooh,
and
got my memory going, yes.
I guess John, my partner, was having a kid. And
you guess? Or can you confirm that
he was.
He was
having a child. They were pregnant with a child. And it was going to be a girl. Let's call her Luna. And during the interview, I decided to quote Chris Rock by saying, you know, you got to keep your daughter from doing bad things. Let's just put it that way.
Let's paraphrase. Otherwise, it's like, what was the point?
What was the point of the whole thing? Exactly. And I learned quickly that probably was a bad thing to say because it would be a soundbite and clickbait. And collectively, it was like not something we should do. And I went to you and asked you to have it removed, to which you said, that's really awesome clickbait.
Yes, and let me just set this up from my perspective for a second here. Yes, like fresh to LA, scrappy correspondent, just trying to like break a story, trying to like, you know, do an interview that gets headlines. But I've always prided myself in not being a gotcha correspondent or host, period. I just like to feel good about
it's called integrity.
Yeah.
You know.
Core value, you know, something
that Midwest girl in you.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
And so you said what you said, and then, I mean, then y'all kind of like had a fun little back and forth. I was like, oh, this is gold. I can't wait to take this back to the
I just thought I was being funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was funny.
It was better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Like just... Yes, nothing that she said was inappropriate or like, but it could easily be taken out of context and then
that was really
have a life
of
its own. Right.
But the point is you said yes.
So I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Go into the newsroom. And then as soon as we wrapped the interview, Mike's like, can I talk to you for a second? Hey, sis, mind you, just met him 5 seconds ago. I said, wow, that was a fast pass to sis.
What's up, fam?
What's the rate? What's the ask? What's happening next? What's about to happen? And he was like, so that clip, that bite I told you about, you know, John's daughter, and maybe is there a way we can just not run that?
It's 86 that.
Right. And I'm like, the literal piece, like the best, most fun, I should say, not the best, but like definitely the most fun part of the interview. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I got you. Let's see what we can do.
But I also said, if you do this for me, who I am is irrelevant. But in my mind, I can do big things. I was like, if you do this for me, I'll have your back forever.
You did say that.
And you'll just be little sis, I'll have your back forever.
You did say that.
And you're like, okay. And literally, I think that night, you met us out at Sundance that night. I'm positive you did. And like, you've been in my life ever since.
For sure. For the record, I would have held it, or at least advocated to have it held. I had no power at that level. I had to just call and tell my, news director, hey, can we not run this, please? And
look at us years later.
And here we are. But I would have held it regardless.
I don't know. But now, you know the name of my children.
I know.
You're actually my friend.
I know.
We have nice heart-to-hearts. We tell each other secrets sometimes. We do. Like, we're actual friends.
We have more secrets to share after this.
I cannot wait for this interview to be over and I can really talk to you.
Tell you. So much to tell you.
So brothers are there, living in Toledo, like you're going to school, all that good stuff.
Oh, I went to private school to answer your question. So I started, I grew up in Toledo. And I went to a Catholic school actually to start, like, from the time I was in first grade until I went to a Montessori kindergarten, whatever it's called. Then first grade through sixth, I was at a Catholic school, like still in the inner city. It was like decent school, like decent academics. My teachers were incredible. They were so passionate and really hands-on. And they could see from an early age I was really bright and I was a voracious reader. I loved to write. I was really shy. I didn't talk.
You were shy?
I was so shy. I couldn't even make eye contact with people until like high school, like maintaining eye contact when speaking or being spoken to. Oh, now I'm locked in. Like, we can do this all day.
I'm not going to play that game.
You will lose.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know.
But like now I can't not do it because I didn't for so long. I'm making up for lost time, I guess.
Right.
So there's a really great private school in Northwest Ohio, arguably the best one. And I was like, I want to go there. I gotta go there. Like, I just know it's my future is at this school and it's gonna set me up for success.
What was the name of the school?
Mommy Valley Country Day School.
Mommy Valley Country Day School.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Yes.
Okay.
I was a cheerleader for a year. That didn't last
Can't
long.
believe it.
I still can't believe it. And I'm trying to actively find and burn all photographic evidence. So
We're going to find it for this podcast.
Please don't.
Oh,
Please, everything was terrible about me, my hair.
If I can find a
pic,
pic, we're going to insert
Please
it.
do
for
not,
sure.
Mike. I should never have told you. That's all.
Because you know I'll do it.
And I know.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to this really incredible country day school. My parents were like, no way. It's too expensive. Like, absolutely not. Tens of thousands of dollars a year to go. And I was like, I'm going to this school. And they had a scholarship testing. And so me and my best friend at the time decided we were going to go and we were going to test and we were going to win the academic scholarship and go to Mommy Valley. And so I convinced my papa, my mother's father, to sneak me, to take me to the academic. Like, this is the type of rebel I was such a nerd. My rebelling as a child
was getting accepted to private
I'm
school.
sneaking into the country day school scholarship testing.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, I ended up getting the academic
Did your friend
scholarship.
get in?
No, she
guys
got
still
in, but she
friends?
didn't get the academic scholarship.
Oh, were you guys remaining friends after that?
Yeah, we stayed friendly, but we went to different high schools, drifted apart. Like,
Right.
just sort of like the typical story.
Right.
And so I ended up getting the scholarship. My papa took me to the testing. It was like 7 a.m. We stayed up the night before listening to classical music while we studied because I read that helps you retain information more.
Gosh.
Such a nerd. I had
Such a
so
nerd.
many friends, Mike.
I can't wait to
I had
teach you
a
about
lot of
this.
friends. And then I got it. And so I ended up having a full ride to Mommy Valley for 7th through 12th grade. And it really did change the trajectory of like everything.
Even just like the network of people you meet. I'm sure some of that
100%.
still serves your life today.
The network, but more than that, I would say that experience, the biggest gift was just opening my eyes and my mind to what was possible, right? Because I was taking the yellow bus out every morning from my home in the inner city out
So
to the
just for
burbs.
clarity, you grew up like in the inner city, right?
1,000%.
Because I don't know what people think when they hear Toledo, Ohio. Like, I certainly don't think, oh, that's probably hard.
No, Toledo is just, I mean, it's home. I love my city. I go back as often as I can. It was just the inner city. That's just what it was.
Predominantly black neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Like, okay. And then the private school is predominantly white.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so from an early age, busing back and forth and like living in between these two worlds and just seeing, oh, there's more out there, but then also seeing some of what that world had to offer and be like, I like it better at home in these ways, right? And so I was sort of growing up realizing professionally and financially what was possible, but then also really tapping into and understanding that I had a value system that I was raised with,
Right.
that was absolutely found at home. And so appreciating both of those worlds for different reasons. And it was not without its complications. And sometimes it was hard. But
I love that. I mean, I went to private school for most of my life and then public 10 through 12, but being in a hardcore, very proud, very black family, and like living in that truth, right? But then like seeing myself in this other world was very confusing at times.
Yeah.
But to your point, it also shaped me. It allowed me, I'm sure with you, to be in multiple rooms with different kinds of people and learn how to kind of navigate that space. So in the end, I think that's pretty cool. What's surprising to me is that you went to such a great school, but then ended up going to Ohio State.
First of all, I'm going to need you to put a "the" on the front of my university's name. Thank you.
Whatever it's called,
So
the
much.
Ohio State University.
There we go.
How did all that hard work that you did at the mommy school?
a mommy school.
lead you to the Ohio State University?
Well, Mike, I'm glad you asked. It was just I just kept building up. I'm a Buckeye. I bleed scarlet and gray now. Very proud of it. I graduated from Maumee Valley. The Ohio State University gave me a full academic scholarship.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, sis.
I told you.
Okay.
I was a nerd. I read and I wrote and I dreamed in my bedroom.
It's so hard for me to just imagine you literally being that much of a nerd.
That's it. And that's the thing. And that's what people, I think, sometimes don't get about me. Like, you see my life now. Certain people see it and what it looks like. But like at my core, I'm much more extroverted now, but I'm way more introverted than people realize. Like, I need to recharge after I talk on a red carpet or interview a bunch of people or just hang out at a social gathering. I could sit on my couch for 2 days in silence and look at a wall and be thrilled. Like, it would have been an enjoyable experience for me. I like quiet. I was a nerd and I still am. Like, deep down, like, I like the things that I like, and I just wear cooler outfits, I guess, now. But.
Were you were you pretty then?
Sure, I was cute. I think I was a late bloomer for sure. And I also growing, being in this predominantly white, very small space too. I only graduated with like maybe 30-ish people in my senior year at the high school. But you're just othered, right? So it's like you're trying to fit in and make sense of the social world around you, just being a teenager. And then you're also the only Black girl in a lot of your classes. Right. Like, I was literally the only Black girl by senior year when I graduated. And there was one Black guy.
And everybody was like, you guys should be together, right?
What?
That happened to me too. I was like, we have zero in common other than skin tone.
It just doesn't make sense, but okay. Yeah. But that's my dude. Like, we were super close friends and have stayed in touch through the years. But yeah, so I think that doesn't make it easy to kind of like own beauty at a young age. I don't mean from like thinking I was beautiful. I knew like family, friends,
the
those
boys affirmations.
At school, like everybody, even everybody at school thought I was cute too. But it was just, I was already awkward. I was a little nerdy. And then it's like trying to navigate the awkward evolution of like doing your hair and makeup and foundation, the stuff that you learn with your girlfriends in school, putting makeup on in the bathrooms. Like, no one is navigating that the way that I am. Yeah. So it was just a sort of like an isolating experience, at least when I was at school. When I would go back home, obviously, back in my neighborhood, it was different.
But were you socially engaged with people from your hood, just like you were from people from your school?
Yeah, even more so, I think.
More so for people from home?
Yeah. Like, my actual, like, true friends, yes. It was all, like, the kids around the corner, the girls that I grew up with, like...
Through high school?
Yeah, even through high school. Okay. Like, my best friends were still, like, they were going to the public school, like, in the district that I was in, right? Or, like, one of the other schools around where I was actually growing up. Like,
and you could date boys from that school, or
I couldn't date, period.
Or your parents didn't let you date?
My parents were strict. My mom and my dad didn't let me date. So I remember the first time I, like, went out with a boy was for prom my senior year.
Your first date was your senior prom?
Yeah, I didn't date in high school.
Oh, wow.
I was super excited when at 16 I was allowed to go to the mall by myself with my friends. And we would like walk around and like look at the boys. And I had crushes. We would go to like all of the games, right? We would go to the track and field events. We would go to the like public school basketball games and we would hang out. And so I had my little crushes for sure.
Right.
But I wasn't allowed to go out with anybody.
That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's probably good, but it's still tough, right? Because then all of a sudden you're at the Ohio State University. Okay.
Thank you.
And there's more people that look like you. Mm-hmm. You have this freedom. Mm-hmm. Your major was strategic communication?
Yeah, I majored in strategic communication. Why did you make that vague?
I just never heard of that before. I've heard
strategic communication with a focus on communicating to mass external audiences. So basically, it's like public relations, crisis communication. How do we take a brand message, an idea, package it, and then have the brand messaging remain consistent even when talking to different types of people, right? Mike experiencing it is different than Jessica's experiencing it, is different than Mark, because you guys all have different backgrounds, right?
Got it.
So like, how do we package up and communicate an idea consistently to a wide array of people?
I actually wasn't talking shit that time. I just hadn't
that's fair.
Hadn't heard
and I
it
minored
phrased
in
that
theater
way.
with an emphasis on acting.
We're going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
I'm doing the interviewing here.
I know. I can't help it. Okay, I'm going to sit back. Did I answer your question? What was the question?
I don't know. No, you did. I mean, I was just curious about Ohio State. Like, just, it was a whole new world for you at that point. I mean, you're coming from this sheltered home, feeling a little like nerdy and awkward, I'm assuming, to a certain degree, having not much freedom. All of a sudden, you're like one of the biggest schools in the country. People wilding out, High Street. Like,
oh, you know what's up.
I know what's up. All the crazy stuff that goes on in Columbus.
Yeah.
And you're coming into your own. I'm just wondering, like, you know, what was that?
It was incredible. Are you kidding? One, it was, you're right. There were so many people. I was like, oh my God. First of all, because the school is so big, and I was a moral scholar. So we were in.
Stop.
What?
A moral scholar?
A moral scholar. So that I had an academic scholarship.
Right.
So that was just the name of my scholarship, right? Which would make me a moral, MORILL.
Oh, it's named after someone.
Yeah, named after someone.
I think it was MORAL. I was like,
no.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And so I'm in this dorm, and it's like predominantly almost all Black young women at this point. And I was like, this is incredible. It was just like Black people everywhere. It was like nothing that I'd experienced in a school setting for the last 6 years, right? And so suddenly I was completely immersed in an academic and a social situation that felt more like home. And I was discovering boys at the same time that I was, navigating being independent and on my own for the first time. And it was incredible. Like, I took to it like a fish to water. I'd always been a very independent spirit, even as a very young girl. And now suddenly I could just like own that. And so some kids would be like homesick. They'd be like, oh, I just want to. I'm like, all right, y'all have fun.
Footloose and fancy free. Footloose and fancy free in Columbus.
Kicking it. Valencia was like, you have parents. Do you want to come see us?
You're like,
I'm good.
So with the theater minor, were you doing any school plays, or were you doing some acting at that point?
Yeah. So I grew up acting. I was in children's theater workshop when I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
And so I'd only ever known theater, and I've always loved it. Big musical theater geek. I sang growing up. I was in vocal lessons and what?
You sing?
I don't sing. I sang. Like I used to sing. And I had this incredible jazz vocal teacher, Gene
I do
Holden.
understand I had this incredible voice.
No, and I had this incredible voice. And like, honestly, I should have a stack of Grammys right now.
What is up?
Talent isn't always rewarded. So I don't want to talk about that chapter of my life. But Gene Holden, she was this incredible, like very accomplished jazz singer in Toledo. And so I would take lessons with her. She would teach a lot of the local kids. We'd perform around the city at Christmas time. I performed, I don't even want to, I know I'm not going to say this because somebody will try to find
Nutcracker?
No, why is that where your mind went? No.
Because it's a beautiful musical.
It is beautiful. Why would I not want to bring that up?
I don't know.
I used to perform, like even in college,
you're afraid I'm going to find
I would
footage.
Like perform and all that stuff. Like I'm talking like backup dancers and like choreography. It was like a top 40
I gotta find footage of you. I'm gonna call.
You find your thing eventually. Sometimes God is trying to tell you something, and it just takes you a little longer to be like, "Oh, you're telling me to pivot."
We're gonna call Indie TV.
Stop.
And see what kind of footage we can get from them.
No. Oh gosh, please no, Mike. We were friends. So this is the part where I pull you aside on the podcast and say, hey, if you could just cut like 85% of what I've said in this, that'd be
We don't have the ability to cut anything, no.
How convenient.
Okay, so you graduated from the Ohio State University.
Yep.
Your aspirations maybe is more acting than anything?
No. So what's interesting is throughout college, I was still recording. I was writing music. I was going to New York in the summers and doing that. I interned at Def Jam Records in Atlanta. And so I thought, okay, maybe I'll go into the music business as a backup plan, right? But my heart was just in entertainment. I wanted to be, if I wasn't making music, I loved the theater and I loved the screen. I'd love to act. I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to be in entertainment.
Right.
And so before I even graduated from Ohio State, I'd finished all of my required courses in 3 years, but my academic scholarship was for 4 years. And so I thought, I know what I'll do. I will do online electives that allow for more flexibility so that I can study and, still technically be a part of the university, but also mobile. I can travel, I can interview, I can be where I need to be.
A lot more autonomy.
Right. Yeah. And so I also had a work-study position on campus at the local therapy office for the students at Ohio State. And so one day I was just kind of like browsing the internet on Craigslist looking for jobs, as one does. So remember that era when we were all just like on Craigslist? Like, yeah, here's my address. I'll see you in an hour.
Yeah,
please
Craigslist.
Don't kill me. So
they had everything.
They really did.
The first real marketplace.
Honestly, it was iconic.
It was a lot of things being sold. A lot of things being sold on Craigslist.
A lot of things being sold.
Lots of things.
Nope. I'm not gonna. No, there's so much. But that's the problem. That's why it's better when I'm on the other side of the mic, because I am really an open book, and I say I can't. Have you know when you're like broke, how like something's got to give soon. I remember when I was like thugging it out in New York, I was sleeping on a couch in Jersey at my like quote unquote manager's apartment. He was very gracious to share with me. What?
Nothing.
I was in a girl group. I don't, Mike, this is all,
go ahead,
this is not what we're supposed to be talking
about. Go ahead.
About,
this is not what we're going to keep it moving.
But you brought up Craigslist.
Yes.
And then.
You brought up Craigslist.
Right. So when I was on Craigslist, my one of the girls who was in this group with me was like, you can make a lot of money like selling pictures of your feet to strangers. And I was like, I would never. That is like, what? Like, no judgment to people who do.
So how much did you make?
No, right. Well, no, I didn't do it. But I distinctly remember sitting at the desk, browsing Craigslist, and I could just hear in the back of my head, you can make money selling feet. You can make money selling pictures of your feet. And I was like,
you thought about
Can I do it? My feet aren't even cute enough for this.
But it's anonymous. You could have done that.
I know, but I was like, it's too weird for me. Couldn't do it.
I get that. I think that's weird.
I had a serious moment of like, it's either this or I'm not going to eat next week.
Or what? Yeah.
And then God provided. I had food and I didn't have to sell pictures of my feet.
So was your first job with My Indie TV?
It was. Oh, that's why we were here. I'm sorry. I am so chaotic.
It's all love. We're just having a conversation. There's no rhyme or reason.
I was looking for jobs on Craigslist, as one does. And I stumbled into this posting that was like, do you want to be the face of My Indie TV? And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to be the face of it, especially if it's paid, because I'm about to graduate and I do not know what I'm doing next. And so I asked my boss if I could have the day off. The audition was like a day or two from then, and she was super supportive. She said, go for it. So I hopped in my little 99 Ford Taurus with no air conditioning. It didn't work, and just like rode that thing till the wheels fell off from Columbus to Indianapolis. And I auditioned along with a few hundred other people, but they were all local. So they were like, who is this girl? Why did she drive from Columbus? It's not that serious. Right. This is a part-time gig with like a CW affiliate.
Right.
And I was like, I need this job. Right. So I auditioned. They had a panel of judges, all the things. It was sort of American Idol style. So I got a call. I don't know if it was a few days, a week later. And they're like, great news. You're in the top 10. I'm like, awesome.
That's big.
But the catch was I had to drive
back
every single time for the next round of competition. Columbus to Indy, don't quote me on this. I want to say maybe 3.5-ish hours.
Woo.
Maybe, yeah, somewhere between 3 to 4, I think. And then when I got to the top 5, I had a boyfriend at the time. And so I was visiting my college. He had just graduated. So I was visiting him in like the Cleveland, Akron area. And I remember I had to wake up like before the sun was up, like super early, maybe like 2, 3 a.m. And I think there was like was it a hailstorm? There was some sort of bad weather, but I had to get on the road and drive from Cleveland, really Akron, all the way to Indianapolis so that I could be on live TV that morning because they were going to announce who won the position live on air. And so I did that, drove solo, and I got the position. So I got a part-time paid gig with the station. Because I was doing online electives at Ohio State, I was able to move to Indiana before I even graduated. Started this job in TV, and it was like, wait, you guys will pay me to be myself and like just have a personality and like ask fun questions and explore the community? Heck yeah, sign me up. So I did that. I came back to walk in my graduation a couple months later, stayed in Indy for a year and a half, started emceeing for the Indiana Pacers, the Indianapolis Indians. I ended up being the MC for the Super Bowl Village the year that it came there. So it was an awesome start. It was a dream start, actually, to a TV
And is that where you won the Emmy?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Why are you smiling?
Because you're an Emmy winner.
Whatever.
That's a big deal.
It is. We get it. It is a big deal. I was, especially at that age, it was exciting.
Your first fucking job and you got an Emmy.
Yeah, it was.
That's pretty incredible.
It was pretty cool.
I'm not shitting on you this time.
No, I know. For once. I'm like, when does the other shoe drop, Mike?
It's soon.
Go ahead, hit me with it.
But that must have been an incredible feeling. It must have validated a lot of your early choices. Your family's like, look at our girl. Like, that's a big moment.
Yeah. And more than anything, it was the biggest lesson in just betting on myself, right? Like, I remember at that time at the station, I was the new kid on the block. I was only there. I was supposed to be there for a year. They ended up extending my contract because then another face comes, right? And then they compete. And then I pass the torch type of thing.
Right.
And so I wanted to be nominated. And maybe people, your audience would know like the process, but you can consider yourself for nomination, right? It's like, I would like to be considered for nomination for the Emmy, the Oscar, the Grammy, whatever it is. Yep. And so the station had a budget and there was only a certain amount of dollars that they could put towards considering people for nomination, right?
Sure.
So it's like, oh, these are our star anchors. This is the segment that we're most proud of. We're going to pay $200, $300 a pop for the Academy to review and consider those things.
Right.
And so basically they were like, you're not in the budget. And I was like, I want to be considered for nomination for an Emmy for Outstanding Host. I want to be nominated in this category, and I think I could pull off a nomination. So I ponied up the money myself, which I did not have like that.
But you believed in yourself?
But I did. And so I figured out how to do the thing. It was honest to God.
Why not me moment?
A classic why not me moment. And so I scraped together the few $100s, however much it was, to even be considered for nomination. Most people will not end up nominated.
Right.
And I submitted myself separately from the station. And then I found out not too long after that, you've been nominated for an Emmy in the Outstanding Host category. And then I went to, the ceremony, the Emmy ceremony with the rest of, that region's nominated talent shows, et cetera. We had a station table and no one expected me to win. I didn't expect me to win, really. I was happy to be nominated.
Yeah, they should have given you your money back for getting the nomination.
Right, exactly.
Real talk.
Run me my check.
Right.
$300, I think, maybe $2.
Now, please.
And then they brought up the Outstanding Host presenter, and
And the winner is
me.
Zuri Hall.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It blew my mind. I was really overwhelmed, but it also validated the journey that I was on. At that, I couldn't have known what was coming, but it really felt like if I took one step, God took me two. And that was the moment I realized what flow was and sort of momentum, right? Like I could just pound on a door, but if it wasn't opening at a certain point, it's like, okay, I could keep pounding or I could take a step back and ask why and be open to other paths. Is there a cracked window? Is there a back door open? Is there a ladder? And like being open to other entry points to what I wanted, which was Hollywood.
Yeah, and it gave you, I'm sure, a tremendous amount of confidence in yourself coming on the other side of that win and to knock on these doors more and do all that stuff.
I'll be honest. I always had maybe a little bit of like delusional confidence.
You know what? I think
maybe
that's
not
actually
even a little bit.
A lot of it.
Pretty delusional.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people in our business have to have that.
You have to.
I mean, just to get on eventually come to New York, then LA, just to like believe that you can like be on that journey, you have to have, whether it's false sense of confidence or just whatever it is, you have to have it. So I think that's dope.
Yeah.
So all those things happen. Tell me how you go from there to MTV, E! News, Access. Like, tell me like just the stuff in between to get to those places.
The stuff in between.
And you think you're in Dallas for a minute, right? Also?
Yeah. So once I started working in Indiana, I was like, I love this. I feel myself getting better at it. Again, that momentum, it just felt like a God thing. It really felt like what I was supposed to be doing. I felt like I was living in purpose. And so once I decided, okay, TV hosting is the track, I decided I wanted to be national by 25. And back then, I didn't understand like the concept of like intention setting or things like that. But I was doing it before I realized
Vision boards.
And so, So, and whenever someone would ask, oh, what do you want? What's next? All I would say is, I just want to be national by 25. I'm going to be national by 25. Oh, I'll be national by 25. Where? I don't know. I'm not like getting that specific. I just know I want to be on national television by 25 years old.
And at this point, you're 22, 23?
21, 22.
Okay.
22-ish, yeah. And I'm in Indiana, which was a market number 25, like local size. So that's a pretty decent size, yeah.
For sure.
So then I went down to like market number 60-something to go to Dayton, Ohio to co-host a local lifestyle show for the NBC affiliate because I wanted live TV experience. And then I was there for about a year and I got an opportunity to anchor the evening news in Dallas, Texas for the CW affiliate. It was called Nightcap. Very big deal.
Big market
number 5, Dallas, Fort Worth. And I was only 24. And so I was down there anchoring the 5 o'clock show solo and the 9 o'clock with my co-anchor, who's still a really good friend to this day. And I knew national by 25. And I'm like, I just moved to Dallas. I'm loving it here. You know, the cost of living is pretty decent. I'm finally getting a nice little wage. This is the first time I'm making a little bit of money. And I just kept saying national by 25. And then I got word that Fuse, the cable music channel, was looking for a new host for their music countdown show. And so I passed it along to an agent who was kind of representing me, helping me navigate my contracts at that time. And then he kind of asked around and he found out, they're whatever. It's not, I think they're going in a different direction or they found someone. I was like, this is my national by 25 opportunity. So I got online and started cold emailing any and everybody I could find at Fuse, going on LinkedIn, hitting them with the you don't know me but openers, right? And I messaged someone, I think I messaged her on LinkedIn or I found her email. I had no idea who she was at the network, meaning like who all she was connected to, but I knew she worked at Fuse. And I was like, you don't know me but. And she is it's so awesome to see her career because she's crushing it at the highest level in talent. And it turns out she watched my reel and she liked what she saw and she passed it to her boss. Her boss happened to be the head of talent for Fuse. And so he was like, I like her. Let's bring her in. And so she and I are still friendly to this day. And so I flew myself out there. They weren't going to put me up or like pay for it. So I was like, I slept on a friend's couch in Jersey for a week. And I would trek back and forth on the train and the bus and all the things to be tested on air for a week at Fuse. And then they offered me the job, not in that moment, but a few weeks later. And it was really hard because I had this good thing going in Dallas. My assistant news director was trying to talk me out of taking the job. These shows come and go. You'll move out there and then you'll be stuck. And it was like, you know, just someone trying to keep your dreams small and manageable.
But you had to bet on yourself.
And I was like,
you know what I love about that story and the Emmy story is, and I think anyone who's listening to this or watching this that is a dreamer, and I'm hoping there's a lot of dreamers that pay attention to this podcast, is like you can manifest your destiny, but you also can nudge it. You know, and it's about doing the extra stuff. Send the email, make the call, write the check. If you believe in yourself, lean into that belief and go for yours because no one's handing out shit. So I love the fact that you're aggressively going after your dream and choosing to bet on yourself. I just think that's something that needs to be pointed out.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for folks betting on themselves because it's like I used to always say that. Back then, people thought I was crazy or I got a great job and it's like, oh, you should stay at this job. In 5 years, you could be the lead anchor at this station in Timbuktu. And it's like, that's awesome. But Timbuktu's awesome, but I'm not going to be here. I'm certainly not going to be in Timbuktu.
I got plans.
I got plans.
Yeah.
It's like no one has to execute the vision but me, so nobody has to understand the vision but me. You guys will understand once it's done. And that's been sort of the theme of my career.
I love that. So you're doing that and Fuse happens and that's setting you on your path.
Yep. So I was national by 25. I took the job. I hadn't been in Dallas a year. I had a storage unit in Dallas I was paying on for a decade, literally 10 years. I just shipped it to California and I got to open it at some point. I had spent more money paying for it than anything in there was worth because I barely had any money when I got
You're about to find out.
I'm about to find out. But that was it. So I moved to New York, national by 25. I was at Fuse for a year. Then MTV kind of lured me over that way. I was at MTV for a year. My goal became, okay, what's the best? What's the creme de la creme of entertainment news? It was E. I said I wanted E! News by 30. I got it at 27. They moved me from New York to LA. I signed a multi-year deal with E! News. And then I met this guy named Mike Jackson who crushed my biggest interview to date and all of my dreams with it. And
I think you survived. I think you survived my little request.
Yes, I did.
So talk to me about like E, but more Access Hollywood, because that's like even a more prominent role for you. American Ninja Warrior. And then I want you to tell me about something that just happened in your career.
Oh, yeah. Are you live?
You just got like the big chair, right?
Oh, the big chair.
Yeah, we're going to say that for a second. Like,
okay.
First, let's talk about Access Hollywood. Let's talk about American Ninja Warrior, some of those bigger, higher profile gigs, and like what and even like with E, like reporting, like corresponding from the red carpets and all that stuff. That's like a pretty high profile gig. I mean, you're literally talking to like everyone with a global audience at that point.
Yeah.
Just tell me about like those experiences collectively and how that's changed your life.
Ooh, one of the biggest ways it's helped me or that it's changed my life is I've become more of who I am. And it's interesting because I've had to become it in real time on camera. Like for a while, it was like there was Zuri, the real person, and then there was Zuri Hall, the TV host. Yeah. Right. And so I was even kind of like stiff and a little wooden in the hosting position when I first got the job in New York. And I remember like one of my incredible executive producers, he would really work with me to try to get me to like loosen up and, okay, you're not a reporter anymore. You're not anchoring the hard news. Like just be yourself. And I was like, I am being myself.
Yeah. I am being myself.
Like, no. So like over the year or two that I was in New York, I kind of like loosened up and I started to become more extroverted because I had to. Like I used to dread sometimes the celebrity interviews that I would have to do, not because I didn't want to do it, but because I wasn't this like big, super extroverted personality who just loves to talk to anybody and can do it easily and like also doesn't care if they don't like me. Like that wasn't me. Like opposite. I cared and I am quiet sometimes,
Cared a lot.
Yeah. And so I had to grow into that. And over the years, this career has really helped me just own the truth of like who Zuri Hall is, because I think kind of everyone relates to it these days. We all kind of have a personal brand no matter what we do. And I found because I'm so obsessed with the idea of a life of integrity, and I don't just mean like morally, I mean like being able to be oneself and that be constant no matter what space you're in. Right. For a while, there were different Zuris. Like there was At Home in Ohio, there was this person I had to turn on for the red carpet. There was this other person in romantic and relationships. And like over the years, I've found that it becomes easier the more you just learn to be your true and full self in all spaces. And that only came when I had peace with people misunderstanding me or not liking potentially some of those pieces. But it was like, I'd rather you figure out how to deal with it or decide you don't want to deal with it than me figure out how to shapeshift constantly to fit here. And I think being in front of a microphone and presenting as Zuri Hall, I'm not acting, right? There's no character to hide behind. It was like, who the heck am I? And now how do I own that on camera too? Because it is exhausting kind of turning it on and off when the camera's on or off.
I love that. John talks about like how Quincy Jones told him like, you're only cool when you can be yourself.
Yeah.
Like once you're authentically your real self, that's when you're cool.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And people feel it. Like people can tell. And I think that's why even when you get folks who are like, oh, they're like, there's something about them. They are quirky or I don't get it, but they're cool because they don't care. They're going to be who they are regardless. And I think all of us want that deep down. And so we're attracted to people who have found a way to live at that level of authenticity. I think that's a really brave act.
It's very hard.
It is very hard.
It's very hard, especially in life. It's very hard, but in this business, in this
oh my gosh,
fucking bubble of Hollywood, it's even harder. Although you would think it's the place where people are most free.
Yeah.
But it's not. So once you find that kind of inner peace and that strength to kind of just lean into who you're supposed to be and who you actually are, the unscripted version of who you are.
Yeah.
I think that's like a power move.
1,000%. I had that epiphany when I was at E, actually. Like this was years back, not like the current state of affairs. But it's like there was a moment when I was like, I felt like pressure maybe to be someone I wasn't or to report in a way that wasn't true to me. Right. I've always prided myself on being someone who is empathetic, who is warm, who I'm going to ask you thoughtful, smart questions and present them in a way that hopefully you want to answer them. But I'm never going to try to finesse you or bait and switch you. I'm not like a gotcha reporter. And I'm also not gossipy. I'm not salacious. Like that stuff just always gives me the ick and it always has. Yep. But there was a chapter when that was the thing. And it was like, more is more and clickbait this and da-da-da-da. And what's your hot take? Do you hate it or love it? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm generally indifferent, honestly. If they like it, I love it. But like that's not sexy and interesting and like
clickbaity
collective
and all
gas.
The stuff. Yeah.
And I really started to wonder if I was gonna lose my like standing, my job, like because I wouldn't rise to that occasion. And I remember calling my dad one night crying because I had made peace with the fact that like I might have to walk away from like an opportunity that I had. And I was crying because like I'd always been his little soldier and I'm this little go out and get it done and a succeed person. And here I was about to say that I was walking away from an opportunity that I was quote unquote failing because I couldn't or wouldn't rise to meet them where they kind of wanted me to go
like
with
standard,
this direction.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, I just realized today, I don't want to be anywhere. I don't want to be with anyone. I don't want to be in any room that requires me to be anyone other than who you and my mother raised me to be. I am so proud of who that young woman is because it is a reflection of you. And to ask me to minimize that or pretend not to be that is to discredit all of your work, all of your love, everything you've taught me and poured into me. I'd rather be jobless. And I'm getting chills thinking about it because that was not, I didn't have it like that. Like I needed a job. But the moment I decided that I was who I was and that's all I was ever going to be anywhere in every space and take it or leave it.
It opened up.
The doors opened up.
Opened up.
Everybody was like, do you want a job? Do you want more time? Would you like exposure? How about a raise?
Amen.
How about a new deal? I said, this is all I had to do all these years. Y'all been driving me crazy.
Just be my authentic self and stay true to my moral compass.
Yes.
People so easily sell out in this town and sell their soul. So again, you did it your way.
I did it my way. Here.
There
Didn't
you
we
go.
both?
So you told me earlier that you have a new opportunity that's happening. It's got a new
So
seat, so to speak.
A new seat. Well, we're standing, but it's been very exciting. So I just, I've been doing live from E, the red carpet specials, for a few years now.
On the carpet.
Yeah, on the carpet. Yep. In addition to being a co-host of Access Hollywood. And recently, I got the very new and exciting opportunity to be in the main position for the interviews, right? So live from the red carpet, the Golden Globes, that was the big
coming
moment.
Out.
That was and it was so exciting because, you know, I've been in this industry in entertainment news at NBC Universal for 9 years.
Wow.
Like that is my family. That network is my home. I love it. I feel so blessed to be able to mean that, you know, and to grow with the network. And so to finally step into that position and interview, you know, the world's biggest stars live for 2 hours straight, it was such a rush. It was such a fun challenge. It was hard work, like nobody's business, like the hot changes, 2, 3, 4 interviews back to back to back. It was nonstop for 2 hours. But it also was really awesome to feel so ready for an opportunity. Yeah. It was like, I'm excited. I've got the good nerves, but I know I'm ready for this. It's been 9 years in the making. And And so it was really special.
Well,
and we got the
congratulations.
Grammys coming up.
I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of you. I remember, Joan Rivers used to do that. And
Yeah, Joan did it.
Juliana
Rancic,
Yeah.
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
Laverne Cox had
That's
an
a
incredible
big
run.
deal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big deal. I want people listening to understand, like, this girl from Toledo just got that spot. So that's a really big deal. I'm really happy for you. Really proud of you. We're going to wrap it up soon. But before we do, we're going to some really fun, interesting, random questions.
Okay.
Well, first, best interview ever.
This one.
The one you're interviewing.
Oh, okay.
But I like where your head's at.
Did that give me a free drink after this?
You always get free drinks interviewing me.
This is true. If there's one thing Mike is going to do, is give you a free drink.
You know what I'm saying?
And the little chicken bites at Chateau Marmont. Did they take this off the menu?
Hey, we'll find out in around an hour.
Fine. Works for me. My best interview. Oh, there are so many. I've got to say, they say don't meet your heroes. And every time I've interviewed or spoken with Oprah, it's incredible. Like, she just pours so much light into you. She's so warm. She's so gracious. So I've loved just being in her presence. I had a really great interview with Denzel Washington some years back.
The GOAT.
And he's just the GOAT. And like, we both kind of teared up and got emotional talking about our fathers. And it's been really beautiful to see the journey he's on right now and how transparent he's been with his spiritual evolution. I'm a very spiritual person, so that's been beautiful to see. The interviews that I actually take a lot of pride in, though, we had a partnership with the Black and Missing Foundation at Access Hollywood.
I meant to talk to you about that. Sorry. Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so because of my hard news background, I tend to do the true crime reporting at Access Hollywood. When there is a shooting, the helicopter crash with Kobe and his daughter, and the terrible, right? And I tend to be sent out to those field shoots because of the hard news reporting.
Right.
And so I appreciate the opportunity to cover hard news and to cover true crime when I still get it, because these stories are important and they're real. And, I appreciate and love everything that comes with sort of like the world of Hollywood and the celebrity news. But I don't think there's a thing I'm more proud of interview-wise than being able to sit down for long-form interviews for 30, 45 minutes. I've sat one-on-one with a parent for up to an hour, just doing uninterrupted interviews, talking about missing people of color, and specifically Black men and women and children, interviewing local authorities, the sheriff's offices, the parents or siblings of these missing people, to raise awareness and try to shed light on cold cases. And that in itself, even if the opportunity is just to hold space for someone who wants to feel heard, who feels like authorities have forgotten about their loved one or never given the case its due attention, that is a real privilege and honor, and something that I really took very seriously. And so I hope to do more of that.
Okay.
Cool. To come. So we'll
I
see.
love that answer. More serious than what I was going for tonally.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to be
But it's
downer,
a great answer.
But
And I'm glad I asked the question. I have a lot of respect. Worst rumor ever spread about you?
Worst rumor. I wouldn't say it's so much a rumor as like just like a misconception.
I think I know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
About something that you date?
Yes.
That you don't
something.
That you don't date Black people?
Yeah, why would you say that?
She sees dead people. She doesn't.
She sees dead people. No, I think yes, there's definitely a misconception online that I only date a certain type of person or don't date another type of person, which couldn't be further from the truth. And you know this. Like,
Yeah,
you
I've
know
seen some of your
yes, as recently as last.
and they look very all different. Like some Black, some white, some
absolutely,
like you
absolutely.
are an equal opportunity dater.
Yes, like my college boyfriend of 4 years was Black.
Yep.
The guy I dated after him, Black. Like the guy in this last chapter of singleness, it was almost entirely.
People want to see what they want to see.
Black men,
and if they see someone of prominence or whatever who's Black, and they just see them once with a white person, they're gonna label you like that's what you do. Love is love at the end of the day.
And that's really it. And it's like I take pride in the fact that I'm always just gonna go with my heart, and I'm always gonna do what feels true, and that is very much about love, and that's it. And so I don't care what it looks like. It is frustrating when it's not true. And like, I know what my life looks like behind the scenes. I know the relationships I've been in, and I just know. And so it kind of drives you a little bit crazy when there's like this small pocket of online discourse that's got it so wrong. But that's one of the things I guess you just have to make peace with.
You do. And, at the end of the day, don't pay attention to the trolls.
Yeah.
They're just hating ass motherfuckers.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't worried about it. I'm not on the camera, so I'm not worried about it. What's your favorite curse word, and use it in a sentence?
Oh my gosh. My favorite curse word. Wow, Mike. I've
heard you have potty mouth.
Yeah, I kind of get down like a sailor sometimes. Favorite one? I think I just use them all so often and interchangeably. Like, it's just like...
Pick one other than fuck.
I was going to pick fuck.
Yeah, most people do.
So I can't pick fuck. Okay. So you want me to lie to people?
But 4 more seconds.
Oh my God. Okay. It's fun. Shit, but like shit.
Like
shit. Shit. Like
look at
that.
this shit.
I'm sick of this shit.
Tired of this shit.
Yeah, that. Like shit.
I fuck with that.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Oh, yeah.
See what I did there?
Got it.
When your time has come.
Oh my...
You've got
To
plenty
die?
more to transition.
Mike, what?
Woman.
This is dark.
Zuri.
Getting dark, man.
It's not. It's enlightening if you let me finish the question.
Transition. I'm sorry. Continue.
Get that spiritual shit going, yeah.
Namaste.
When your time comes.
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to be cremated or buried or whatever. But let's just presume for this conversation there's a tombstone. What would you like it to read?
She lived to 150.
And then?
But wait, there's more. What would I like it to read? Jeez, I don't, this sounds so corny, so cliche, but it's true. I mean, I'd like it to list the roles that I've played in my life, and the most important ones outside of daughter and sister, niece, granddaughter, I've yet to fill and look forward to, that she was a mother and a wife. That I loved deeply and fully and well, and was loved deeply and fully and well.
You getting a double wide tombstone?
Yeah. Come on now. These NBC
What's it
checks
called?
right now.
What's it called? The Big Johns? Like a...
I don't know. I wanted to be in one of those, what are the outside tombs? Like the
That's what I'm talking about.
Mausoleums?
Yeah. Mausoleums,
Is that
yes.
what they are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want like a mausoleum. And it's like marble and gold, and like you go in and there's mood lighting, and
we gotta talk
LED
to
lights
NBC.
come up.
Get them some bigger checks.
Yeah, please. Thanks, guys. Love you.
What's the best pickup line that was ever used on you?
Oh, the best pickup line. I don't get picked up as often as you think.
Why? Because you have resting bitch face?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
I think it's people think that I wouldn't be interested, or that I'm like taken when I'm not. They think I wouldn't be interested. Like,
Come on, dude. You get fucking hit on.
Not as much. Not real. Like, sure, you get the randos in your DMs with like creepy message. Like, oh my God, my beautiful princess from da 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 da. And you're
any DM.
No, I would
like
love that.
clever?
I did the only time. Really, nobody slides in my DMs. I don't know if people. No, that's not true. People do slide in the DMs, and I've in the past had a little back and forth with.
Have you ever dated a fan?
Dated a fan?
Yeah, or dated a DM?
No, but I have dated a person or two. Like, even kind of recently, not recently, like within the last year, I would say, like, where they don't say they're a fan of like a thing, and then like it comes out in little ways where you're like, wait, I thought you said you never saw my show before.
They're like, I love obstacle courses.
Like, oh my God, the Woods Wall. Like, come again? You asked me what American Ninja Warrior was.
And now you, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You're talking about hit the buzzer and when are we going to Vegas? Like, sir, how do you know all this? So I think I may have dated someone who was maybe an undercover fan a time or two, and it kind of came out over time, which also fine. Like, I don't care. I get that maybe you don't want to lead with it and creep me out.
It doesn't level the playing field anymore. Now they're like a fan.
It's like, kind of, but it's like also if we're, maybe it doesn't level it. I'm like, whatever. I want to be a fan of you too, whatever you're doing. What I do is public facing. So it's not weird to me if someone's like, oh, I've seen that thing you do and I think you were good at it.
You would hope that they have.
Yeah, I would hope that they
viewership.
have because it means people are watching my show.
But
Just
no
don't
one's
make
had,
it weird.
but no one's had a good line, is what you're saying. No good pickup line.
None of them have ended in marriage.
Did it ever end with you laughing and be like, that was really good?
Yeah. My memory is so trash, Mike. I hate that I can't deliver like a good corny pickup line for you right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll let you slide. We'll let you slide.
But I got DMs. When I do like the dating videos and those go viral, like some of them have gotten like millions and millions of views, then it's like I get an upshoot in DMs. And we get some
flow.
Yeah.
You get
And
the
then
flow.
you'll get some like
So you made a great career out of asking really great, fun questions. Mm-hmm. Is there a question that you've never asked anyone that you would love to ask them?
That's a great question.
Check.
It's not so much one question so much as a desire to have a long form uninterrupted conversation with Michelle Obama.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so many gems there. Like I've read her book, like The Rest of the World.
Sure.
And I've just admired her grace under pressure, the way that she's navigated a life of public service, held her own as this incredible woman and powerhouse while also supporting this incredible man and powerhouse, and the way that they stand together and yet also individually, being a mother. Like I'm so fascinated by her. And the way that she seems, to carry herself and the way that she seems to stay true to herself. When I think of, grace under pressure and integrity, she seems to be a woman who really has figured out how to live a life, a very public and high pressure life, but on her terms or in a way that seems to healthily work for her and her family.
I agree.
And so I would just love to talk with her.
I agree with that. Mm-hmm. One or two more questions.
2.
Biggest Hollywood crush?
Mike, you know
Not
I
as
can't
like
answer this.
a little 11-year-old girl.
Dang it, because you know that's where I was going to go.
Older adult.
Older adult crush.
Yeah.
Okay. Older adult crush. Okay. I can't name anyone that I'm actively gonna like cross paths with on a red carpet.
Other people have.
No, because now I feel like you're trying to set me up.
I'm not trying to set you up.
Oh, okay. I'll give you one from like back in the day, but not back in the day.
Okay.
Like
Someone
teenage years
we
through
still
young
know.
adulthood.
Yeah, sure.
Still alive.
Okay.
I was obsessed with and I used to write like fan letters, like color-coded drawings, underlines, send picture. Like I might have put a picture of me in the envelope.
How old are you again when you wrote it?
Old enough.
Okay.
It was like teenage less years, right? I was like 16 with the fan mail era, 14 to 16. But like the crush carried over to when I first interviewed him. I was like,
okay, who?
J Boog.
Who?
J Boog from B2K.
Oh my fucking God.
I was obsessed. His name is Jarrell Houston. And I feel like it's perfect because my last name is Hall. And I just got to figure out if I'm going to
Does he have like two-tone hair? Did like?
Don't play.
No, I'm asking. I'm trying to place him.
He had the little S curl kind of.
Yeah.
And he was the one who talked on all the songs. I don't know if he like sang.
He was a talker.
He was
the talker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jarrell Houston. I was obsessed.
That is.
But that's like.
Amazing.
Whatever. So he's cute. More recent. I feel like I can't any closer and we're pushing into like modern day territory.
I was hoping for a modern day answer, but you went with like popular R&B singers from '76. So
first of all, it was a Y2K revolution.
I'm teasing. They were a really great band. I'm just talking smack. I'm just more to tease you. Y2K. What's his name again? Jarrell?
J Boog was his name in the group.
Jarrell's a cool name.
It is.
It's a great actor named Jarrell Jerome. He's a great actor also.
Absolutely.
He was in our movie, Monster.
Yeah.
Back in the day with Kelvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, yeah, who I just interviewed because he's in Mufasa.
He is.
Yeah.
He's killing it. He did the podcast.
Crushing it. Incredible.
He was one of my first guests. You were in some great company. Yeah. How big is your inner circle?
Small. I don't I pride myself on quality over quantity when it comes to close friends. And also I just know me. I can't maintain a bunch of really deep, high quality relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
So like I don't even spread myself that thin. My inner circle is mostly not in LA, funny enough. Like
I know I moved to Austin, so
yeah. So you can right. Yeah, thanks, by the way. I'm like, really, you're just leaving me.
I love
here
that
in
everybody.
LA. I'm not mad at it. Live your life, man.
Yeah.
It's small. I would say I have 3 best friends, like sisters, like soul sisters. 5 to 6 really close girlfriends in total, including the best friends. And then like my family.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a couple of trusted, like close best guy friends. Like you would be one of my closest guy friends. I have another really close guy friend the one that I used to anchor the news with in Texas. And that's it. Like that's all you really need.
That's all you really need.
Yeah.
So before we end, do you have a question for me?
Do I have a question for you?
No would be fine.
Oh, no, I will never pass up an opportunity to ask a question, Mike.
And scene.
When you think back on life before marriage and fatherhood and life after marriage and fatherhood began.
Or during, maybe?
After it began, right? I kind of saved it on the back end. During, actively.
Still happening.
Actively being married and fathering.
Yeah.
What was the pivot? Like, what was the not how did you know you were ready for that, but like, what was the catalyst to getting from before to after? Like some people wake up one day and they're like, I need to do it now, so I'm just gonna do it. Some people have an aha moment because something in their life makes them realize they want to pivot. Some people are like, I've just been working hard to get to this and finally it came.
I think I'm gonna answer your question accurately, but for me, I just, I'm an old dad. I'm 52, I'm about to turn 53.
How old were you when you had your first again?
48.
Okay.
My kids are 4, 3, and 1. I just got to the point in my life, and you probably know this from before, I was just kind of like, I would love to find love. I would love to do those things, but I still don't see that in the future for me. And I'm just going to be Uncle Mike, and I'm good with that. But I also was a big believer, and I've always said this, and I still say it, it only takes one person to change your life. And that person for me was Rachel. And I just happened to meet her at 48. And this, I told her the day I met her, she was going to be my wife and the mother of my children. So for me, it was just about leaving enough space to let someone kind of peek into the curtain and me being able to like meet them there and pull it all the way back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't like this epiphany or like a declaration as much as like letting myself stay a little bit open even when I thought the door was already closed.
Yeah.
I just kept it a little bit open. And luckily, my wife showed up and kicked that fucker down.
Yeah, look at you now.
And now I'm a man of purpose.
Family man. And now you're a man of purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for being a guest on the Why Not Me podcast. I love you dearly. I appreciate you as a friend and little sis. And I wish you nothing but happiness and success in all your future endeavors. And let's now go to the chateau and get some chicken bites and drinks and chat.
On you.
Thank you. On me. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. This is great.